Good day, traders. Today we will be learning the third Fantastic 5 setup, which is the Quasimodo reversal, in short form QMR. Please pay attention as this is one of the most common setup that happens among these 5 setups. So let's have a look. So the introduction to QMR, which is called the Quasimodo reversal, it actually came from the cartoon character Quasimodo. So if you ever watch the animated cartoon movie, it's called The Hunchback of Notre Dame. This cartoon character has a hunch on his back. So one side of the shoulder is higher than the other. So this is where the Quasimodo came from. So the QMR is also called an over and under pattern. So let me show you this. What is meant by over and under pattern? So we have the high, okay, high, like this. So the over and under, this is how the patterns like for Quasimodo. So this is the over, and this is the under. Okay, so it is an advanced price action trading concept in the trading industry. It is a reversal pattern that is created after a significant obvious trend. So normally this always happens when there is a change of trend. So for example, when the trend is going upwards, right? And then once it goes upwards, up to a certain stage, when price decided to come down, it won't just go up and then pop like that. No, definitely no. It will start to create a QM pattern. So it goes like this, come back down, it will break the structure, come back up again to retest this area, and then it will go on a downtrend. Alright, so when a series of higher high, higher low, or lower high, lower low is interrupted, then this is where the QMR pattern is created. So QMR is one of the most profitable chart patterns in the Forex, okay, and it is also very common being used by the supply and demand traders. Because this setup always repeats itself all the time, the most important part is that we're able to identify and we're able to catch this setup whenever there is an opportunity rises in the chart. But beware guys, QML is also the best place for big traders trying to manipulate us. So let's look at the SOP for the QMR. This is for a sell setup as price doing its pattern. So once there is this kind of pattern, as we can see here, there's a neckline where price has broke the structure. Let's mark the structure: high, low, high, and lower low. At the same time, there's an over and under. So when we have this structure, this is what we call a QM, about to be. And let's mark the entry point, which is the same level as the left shoulder, okay, at the body, not at the wick, at the body of the left shoulder. And let's mark the zone up to the wick for easy for us to monitoring. So this is where we will sell. We will put our PO at this entry point. Price will come to this area and then will go down. Simple as that. So most important part, remember, it must always be on a quick retest. Next, let's look at the QMR SOP for buy setup. So same thing, price will make it patterns. The moment when this kind of patterns arise, there's a neckline where it broke the neckline. Let's mark the structure again. We have the low, high, lower low, and higher high, and we have the over and under. So this is what we call a QM pattern. Next thing what we should do is to mark the entry point with the same level as the shoulder on the left side at the body and not at the wick. We mark the zone up all the way to the wick so that for easy for us to monitor. So we'll set our PO on this entry point here. Okay, when price comes back on this area, and then it will continue to go upwards. So remember, once again, it must always be on a quick retest. Now let's look how do we entry in the chart. So here there is a pair GBP JPY on a M30 minutes time frame. So there's a QM pattern here. So let's mark the horizontal line, okay, as our entry point. This is our left shoulder, and then we mark the zone up to the wick, so easy for us to monitor. We change to the line chart, and then let's mark the structure. We have the low, high, lower low, and the high high. So this has an over and under, and this is a QM pattern. So we change back to the candlestick chart, and let's wait for the price to react. And there we go. We can see that the price has react towards our QMR pattern. Now let's look for the sell setup for our QMR. As we can see here, there's another price pattern here for QMR. So we mark the left shoulder, which is on this side, and then we mark the zone for our easy marking and monitoring, and then we change it to the line chart, and then we mark the structure again. We have the high, low, higher high, and lower low, and then we can see here there's an over and under pattern. So this is a good QM pattern. Let's change back to the candlestick, and then let's wait for the price to react. And then you can see here that the price has reacted to our QMR. Alright, let's look at some of the high risk QMR SOP. So the first one is this. You can see here that the wick or the shadow of the left shoulder is almost the same level as the higher high, or even higher than the higher high. If we look at this sample, this is how it looks like. You see this wick here? We do not want this wick to be above than our higher high. It is very high risk. And then if you look at the line chart, here it goes. See, they are almost the same. Okay, so this is a very high risk, and then avoid this kind of QMR. Let's look at the second one. Second one is the late retest. So we have the left shoulder. Okay, we have the high, low, high, high. And then when price make lower low, it takes a lot of time. Not only that, to come back up, it also takes much longer than it's supposed to. We want it to be the quick retest type, where the price, once it breaks this neckline here, I'll show you, break this neckline here, we want the price to come back here, and then hurry up, come back into the zone, and then it will become low risk and to continue downwards. Alright, so let's look at this sample here. As we can see, this price, you see, it makes lower low and goes also went down, making a very long story, see, and before it comes back up. This is how it looks like, alright, in the line chart. So this is also what we want to avoid. The third one is when the lower low for sell setup has touched the danger zone. Now this is very super high risk. Let's look at one of the sample here. So we have a very nice QM pattern. We have the, let me draw this out. We have the high, low, higher high. Okay, we have the over and the lower low. We have the under. However, if we can see here, this price, the lower low, has already touched the danger zone. Therefore, the risk of this QMR has become very super high, even though this QM pattern is very beautiful. Alright, if you can see in the line chart, it is very beautiful QM pattern, but once it touches the danger zone, it's considered a very high risk SOP, and we want to avoid this kind of QM pattern. Now the last one, as we can look here, the shadow is almost equivalent as the lower low, or even lower than the lower low. It looks like a very beautiful QM pattern as well. We have the left shoulder, we have the high, low, higher, high, lower, low. But this shadow, this is what we don't want it to be. As we can look at the chart here, look at this. This shadow is even longer than the lower low here. However, when we look at the line chart, it looks fine, right? It looks fine. This low here is still higher than the lower low, alright? But in the candlestick, we can see that the shadow is even longer than this lower low. So this is also the QMR we do not want to take. It's very high risk. So how do we measure for QMR to lower our risk during entry? So first of all, the key is the multi-time frame analysis. This is very crucial. Second thing, we have to look for the engulfing candle at the higher time frame. Third, the setup has to be at the body of the engulfing candle. Remember, please never ever take a confirmation when the setup is at the wick or at the shadow of the engulfing candle. It will become very high risk. So let's move on to the chart. Oh yeah. Alright guys, we're at the trading view. As we can see here, this is a GBP CAD pair on the H1 time frame. So here we can see there is a possible QM Alright, there's a pattern here. This is the left shoulder. So I'm going to mark the left shoulder on here. If we change to the line chart, see, there is a strong left shoulder with an A here, capital letter A. The reason why I choose this and not this is because I will always take on the current price, the closest price. So after we make a horizontal line, next we should do is to use the box to mark the zone. This is only for us to easy to monitor, right? Nothing much. So now we have marked the zone. Next thing what we should do is to change to a higher time frame, okay, to check whether we have any engulfing and make sure that our setup is in the engulfing body candle. Right, let's go to H4. At the H4, this is very beautiful. First, we have the engulfing candle. Secondly, the setup is in the engulfing candle itself. It's not at the wick at the top here. So this is considered a low risk. However, as we can observe here that the price has gone down, so we have to find the danger zone in this area. So the danger zone in this area would be this area. Here there's a QM pattern, or I would prefer here the support. So I will mark this as a danger zone. There we go. And we'll color this one pink so that I don't get confused. Or red. So this is the danger zone. Alright. Beautiful. Okay. And now we have the confirmation. What we should do now is we do not want the price to be late retest. We want it to be quick retest. So first we mark the structure. Change back to the line chart. Here we have the high. Okay. Then we have the low here. Then we have the high high. And we have the lower low on this side here. Next thing what we should do is we want to monitor this setup. Make sure that it doesn't go on a late retest. So let's play now. Okay, as you can see, the price has react to our QMR setup. Right, this is very beautiful. Right, so it react to our left shoulders and it reject with 2 wicks and it go all the way down. So your first TP for QMR normally is at the lower low. So this is very important. Our first TP here. Then thereafter you can go to the next danger zone. However, this TP and SL you will learn later on further in the class. So most important thing is that we understand that this is the QMR pattern and it reacts. We have a confirmation, and the confirmation, the setup is at the body of the candle. Alright, so we do multi-time frame analysis. We check the line chart. We make sure that our higher time frame has confirmation and everything reacts very well. Hi guys. So here's another example of the XAU USD for QMR setup. As we can see here, there is a potential of QMR setup. So let's mark the structure first. Mark this as a low. I will take this as a left shoulder. Low. Here's the high. This is the lower low. Okay. The top here will be the higher high. Okay, so once we have marked the structure, we know that this is a QM pattern. Okay, not only that, we have the over and under. This is the over. Okay, this is the under. Alright guys, so we have the QM pattern. Next, what should we do is we mark the left shoulder. Okay, this will be our entry point. Left shoulder. This is the left shoulder. Okay, we change to the line chart. We can see this is a clear left shoulder, and then we mark the zone. So we mark the zone. Nothing special about it, just as a monitoring area. So when price comes in, it's easy for us to monitor. So once we found our QMR setup, we should go to the H4 time frame to check for confirmation. Okay, so at the H4 time frame, we can see that there is a bearish engulfing. So the confirmation is a bearish engulfing and the setup is in the body of the engulfing. It's not at the wick. Therefore, this is still considered as a low risk with a strong confirmation. So let's go back to the H1 time frame and let's see what will price react. Okay, good. So price has reacted to our QMR setup. Now the next thing is whether price will reach our TP. Normally we will TP for QMR is the previous low or the previous high. Okay, which is the higher high or the lower low of the QM. Okay. Okay, so you can see here price take quite some time to reach to our take profit. Anyhow, whether slow or fast, price has still reached to our take profit. Okay guys, so here's another example of the QMR. This time we will look at the buy setup. So here's the structure. Let me mark the structure again. We have this as our low, high, this one as higher high, this one as our lower low. So once we mark the structure, next what should we do is we mark our horizontal line. So we go to our here. Okay, you can change the line chart if you want to, but if you're familiar with candlestick, you can just mark at the body of the candlestick as our entry point. Next, we mark this zone as our monitoring area. So once we have done this, we should double check again, which is the over. We have the over. So we have the over pattern and also the under pattern. Okay, so we have all the over and under pattern to confirm that this is a QM pattern. Next, before we entry, what should we do? We go to the higher time frame. We need to check for confirmation. Okay, so the higher time frame, there is a bullish engulfing. Okay, at the weekly time frame, and at the same time, this setup is in the engulfing candle. Therefore, the setup is still considered low risk and with a strong mode of confirmation. So let's go to the daily again and let's see how does the price react. Okay, so price instantly react 2 days later after we have marked all this. Okay, so once the price comes in and then continue on the uptrend, not only that, it also took our hit profit. Okay, it hit our take profit area, which is here the previous high. Okay guys. Okay, the next thing you should do is your assignment. So you are required to do 5 screenshots on QMR. So you need to find the QMR on the candlestick, go to the line chart, mark the structure. At the same time, you have to go to the higher time frame and screenshot the engulfing candle and make sure that the setup is in the engulfing candle. Once you've done 5 of the screenshots, save it in a folder. Later on, after you have completed all your course, then you are required to submit this. See you at the next class.